from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased to have with me Caden, who's the co-founder and CEO of AgentsTech, joining me from the US. Caden, thank you very much for being on the show today. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Yeah. So my name's Caden. As Mehmet said, I'm the co-founder and CEO of AgentsTech, located in College Station, Texas, which is northwest of Houston. We are a technology consulting firm for independent insurance brokers in the United States. So we basically go in and help insurance brokers who are either very far behind in their technology journey within their company, or just want a second opinion on things in terms of what they're going to add to their company to help them do business better by either increasing revenue or increasing efficiency and things like that.
Yeah, that's great. So this is a question, maybe a little bit classical, but, I like to, I'm curious to know from this perspective, because as we were discussing before we start, that we didn't focus on insurance tech in the show yet. So, what is the moment that you realize that there's a huge gap in technology adoption between small insurance brokers and larger firms? How did you react to this realization?
Yeah, so I was actually invited to go to a media or a conference in the Northeast in the US. And before then, our company, I work for also an insurance brokerage myself. Before then, we had onboarded a lot of softwares to help us do business better because we saw, hey, a lot of stuff is going on in the world right now when it comes to insurance and insurance technology. We've got to be a step ahead because we don't have the funding that larger, massive brokerages have. So we had to kind of take that next step. So fast forward, when I went to this conference, the people that we were talking to, they were saying, hey, we always have these problems with this and this and this and this. And I was like, okay. But I realized, I was like, well, we already have a software that does that. Like we already solved that problem. And these were the people that we were talking to, the other brokerages that were at that conference. They were 3, 4, 10 times larger than the brokerage that I work for was. So I was like, man, if these people are struggling with having certain technology that they need, then I guess everyone is at this moment. So that's when we kind of set down the path. Me and a couple other people started to realize there's a significant need for people to learn how to use technology. And in the insurance industry, it's so archaic. It's at least 10 years behind every other industry. We found that agents need help because there's so many different softwares that they could use, but they don't know which one to use. And to be honest, insurance brokers, they don't have time to comb through all of the softwares available because 1, they're really expensive. And 2, they just don't have the time because they're trying to focus on selling or managing their business. So that's kind of where we come in and take that off their shoulders because all the softwares that we recommend or that we consult on, we've already vetted ourselves. And that just helps the agent have kind of a peace of mind that what they're getting from us is going to be the exact solution that they need.
Yeah, that's good. I like always, when I hear these stories of, like actually you face the problem kind of yourself also first. And then you knew that a lot of people would use it, and then you came up with your offering, which is amazing. Now, but I'm sure, like Caden, at the beginning, there were some challenges that you faced to bridge this gap. So, can you walk us through what kind of challenges you faced, and then how slowly these insurance brokers, they started to accept that, yeah, they need the change, and you were able to onboard them with your company?
Yeah, the first big challenge that we saw, and we kind of did a trial run of cold calling people of different marketing avenues to see what's the best way to get in front of. And when we did our first trial cold calling, we got a lot of pushback because there's a lot of insurance agents, and I may ruffle some feathers with what I'm about to say, but there's a lot of insurance agents that are stagnant in how they're doing business, because all they're doing, they may be a little bit older, they may be middle-aged, they may even be younger, but they're sitting on a cash cow. They're sitting on $2, $3, $4, $5 million. And all they're doing is waiting for a massive, venture capital firm, private equity firm, or massive insurance brokerage to come and buy them so that they can take their $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million and retire. We realized those are the people that we're looking for, because they're not, they're apprehensive to change because they don't really want to work at this. And then we realized after a while, okay, we have to find the insurance brokerages that are maybe not 100% there when it comes to technology or software within their agency, but they're actively seeking, they're desiring it. Because those people are the ones that are like, yeah, let's talk, let's work, let's come up with a plan. We've had really good success with those types of agencies. And it doesn't mean that they're, already massive. It could be a really small agency. It could be a 1 or 2 man shop, but the people that have shown desire to grow and desire to keep working are the people that have become some of our best customers.
Yeah, actually, this is not something new I hear, Caden, and I think it applies across multiple, I would say, line of business. When you bring a new technology, you always find these people who would tell you, hey, we've been doing it this way all our lives. No need for change now. Business is running. Yep. But the thing I want to highlight here, and it applies for the insurance, and that might apply to other verticals as well, is, you might come up with a moment where, we have a big disruption in business, and then you find out that you are losing customers. It's not like we always give the same examples as the Airbnbs and, the Netflix and all this. Yeah. And, the technology is coming after every single vertical, I would say. So there is no way to run away from that. Now, how does your company ensure, the seamless implementation of these technologies offered to the insurance tech companies? Like, can you discuss a little bit some key steps or strategies here?
Yeah. So we have a very, after a long deliberation with a lot of our other employees, we've come up with a very seamless step-by-step process of what to do. The first step that we do is our recommendation or connecting. So we ask a lot of really in-depth questions about the actual brokerage, about the company, seeing what are their problems. Is there a solution that can help solve those problems? So after we ask those really in-depth questions, we then go to the implementation phase, which is more along the lines of like the administrative process, getting them in touch with the companies, helping manage those initial meetings, answering any of their questions about the software that they may have, any confusions. And then the last 2 steps kind of go hand in hand, which are the integration and then the training. So the integration has to do with how do we get all of these softwares to talk back and forth with each other? When it comes to their CRM or in the insurance industry, there's another one called an AMS or agency management system. It's more the like insurance work that needs to be done within a daily basis. And then there's a lot of other peripheral softwares that are integrated into these 2 main CRM and AMS. So you have to be able to know, how does this software talk to this one? How does this software integrate to this one? And we have companies that we work with that are third parties that help with that integration, as well as within our own company. And then the last part is probably the most important, is the training for their employees, because right now there's a company called NextThink. They're like a technology research firm. And they said that in the United States at the beginning, it's either the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023, 60% of employees do not use the technology that their employer has given them. So we come in and we actually do third-party training, yes, on how to use the software, right? Because that's the most important. If you don't know how to use it, you're never going to use it. But also, what part of this software, how do we integrate this into your daily business processes? How do we go, you have a customer come in the door, or you have someone call in, wanting an insurance quote. How do you then use software ABC to make that process easier for the customer and in turn easier for you as an employee? And then lastly, one of the things we realize is that within current insurance brokerages, there's some employees, they get it. They understand the software. They have no problems. It's literally, we have 1 or 2 meetings and they are off to the races, right? But then we have other employees that maybe they're a little apprehensive. Maybe they're a lot of things. And our COO, he said, Caden, he's older than me. He's been in the insurance industry for a long time. He said, when a software comes in, there's some employees that are scared that their job's going to be taken away because that software will solve it. So we kind of have to go into some of those employees that either are apprehensive and scared of using it or just are having a tough time doing it, saying, hey, it's not going to take away your job. It's actually going to help you do your job better so that you can have more efficiency and potentially make more money. If you're in a sales environment and a software helps decrease 50% of your, day-to-day data entry, automated email follow-up, that's 50% more time in the day that you can try to make more sales and make more money. And so that's our whole process. And then that is a 4-month minimum contract that we have. And then after that, we can actually stay on as just a consultant, a monthly retainer consultant for any other trainings, any other software recommendations. That's pretty much the process we use.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, Caden, I'm a technical guy by nature. So when you say, you do these integrations, so you rely on some automations and kind of API integrations between, different components that they might have?
Yeah. So a lot of API integrations, a lot of sometimes native integrations, depending on the software. The only problem that we've seen, and, saying again that I work for an insurance brokerage myself, in the softwares that insurtech companies are building, sometimes they're not the most integrative into other softwares. That's a big problem in the industry right now. Is there is no one software that can do it all. Because, and I don't know the reason why, but there's a lot of softwares that just don't either company dynamic or technology, availability or the depth of technology, they do not integrate with other softwares well. So it's a very big issue. The most useful thing in the insurance industry has been Zapier. If you know what Zapier
Of course.
is, because you don't have to have that native integration with some softwares. You can just, bounce it off of Zapier and it bounces back over to the other software you're trying to communicate with. That is something that we talk to insurtech companies all day long. We're trying to say, hey, can you please open up your API so that so our jobs can be easier so that you can better serve your employees. Some of them are open to it, some of them are not, but it's just up to that company.
Actually, this is very good observation, Caden. Myself being also back in the days, in previous lives, as we say, sit on the client side and then as a consultant. Now, people think that once we have a software that can do it all is better. But actually, the feedback I receive, it becomes more complex to use because people start to lose track where I can do this. Right. Now, on the other hand, what happens sometimes is you have a lot of tools and people get lost also as well. Like, which tool is for what? I have a software for CRM. I have something for marketing, something for, I don't know, maybe finance, accounting, all this stuff. And I think tools like Zapier and, like Make or Integromat, as it used to be known, like here when are facilitating, this and bringing the pieces together on the whole. That because, as you said, the biggest friction for the user is always learning something new. And like, I'm happy you discussed, because I was about to ask you about the training part, but you already answered it.
Okay.
Now, people always love Caden to hear stories. Like, I mean, when we say we shifted the organization from this state to this state. So, right. So if you can give us, kind of a success story or case study that, it can tell us how your company transformed a traditional insurance brokerage into insurance tech.
Yep. Yeah. So the basic one that I love to use, because it is a literal self case study, is with our current at the brokerage that I work for. We were obviously the trial, right? Of like, okay, we can't mess up, right? Because it's our own brokerage. So we might as well just 100% all the way in. So prior to me coming on to the current brokerage that I work for, it was, a decent size in revenue and employees and number of customers. But when I came on, coming from a pretty heavy tech background, I was like, it's not bad, but it could be a lot better. So I talked to our CEO and I was like, hey, we're starting this company up on the side. Can we use our brokerage as the guinea pig per se? So what we did within our brokerage is we onboarded about 8 or 9 softwares, all tailor picked to some issues that we were having within the agency, whether it was inbound customers or email automation to current clients, or filling out forms for quotes for insurance, commercial insurance quotes, and the list goes on and on. So we onboarded all of these softwares in a way that was not overwhelming, because like if you onboard 9 softwares in 1 week, your employees are probably going to leave because they can't handle that. So we onboarded, I think over about a 6-month time frame, we onboarded 2 softwares a month until we were finished. That way we could slowly say, all right, so we did the main 2, which was a CRM. We onboarded that one first. That was just the first month, because that in itself is a lot to work with. So we did that first. And then from there, we started adding things that built upon the CRM that made everything flow really well together. And then after we got done, we did the training with everyone. I was the one that led majority of the trainings for all of our employees. And then we started the actual saying, okay, let's see, what have we increased in efficiency? What have we decreased costs? How much revenue have we increased? And we monitored that for about a year, for about 12 months. Monitored what are our KPIs? Are we actually doing what we said we were going to do? And at the end of 12 months, we increased our revenue 25%. And it was totally attributed to the technology. And, some people say, oh, well, you can't fully, 100% say that it was the technology that did that made you increase your revenue by 25%, because prior to that, we were only doing about 10 to 12% year over year increase in annual revenue. But I always say to those people, because I get it all the time, I say, the only thing that we changed was our technology that year. We didn't hire any more employees. We didn't, increase any lead sources. We didn't purchase any more lead sources. It was all just based off of increasing efficiency, increasing the amount or decreasing the amount of time it took to onboard a customer to the brokerage. And then also with those automated emails, it helped a lot with our retention and cross-selling different lines of business. So that was a lot of what we did. So that was probably the best success story. And then we've definitely had a lot of other agencies have similar success in terms of increasing revenue. We've had a couple agencies that we worked with that have been able to increase their efficiencies and decrease the amount of time it takes to onboard a customer by like 40-50%. So that it is almost a totally automated process, but also there's little touch points in that onboarding process with customers that are, receiving a phone call from the agent or things like that. So that's probably in all our biggest success stories, our own agency. And then we have some other agencies in Florida and on the East Coast that we have done a lot of good work for that are seeing a lot of success.
Yeah, probably I can now imagine, exactly what happened. So probably because you were in engaging the technology in the onboarding of customers, so customers' satisfaction increase, and based on that, probably they started to suggest your services to other people also as well, their friends, their family, So yeah, of course, people think like only it's the, number game with technology, but they don't put a lot on customer satisfaction because, one of the main things that technology can help companies is increasing their customer satisfaction, or what sometimes we call it customer experience. And customer experience is the main driver for revenue growth also as well,
Right,
which is amazing actually. And the reason I asked you the question in this way, because when we talk about, kind of digital transformation or the modernizing your tech stack, so it needs to be seen with a number. And of course, increasing the revenue generated is, I would say, number one for any organization. Now, Caden, of course, you have a vision, I would say, for the future, for the industry in general. How are you seeing this, and where do you see your company fitting in that picture?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the first part of your question about where you see the industry going, there's about to be a large shift. And by large, I mean like industry changing shift. There's a ton of insurance agents that are about to phase out, about to retire, because insurance is one of the oldest industries in the United States and in the whole world. So you're going to have a lot of older insurance agents that are going to either sell or retire, probably both. That's going to be a very big thing because you're going to see, in just my opinion, you're going to see larger insurance brokerages or private equity firms, venture capital. They're going to start buying these agencies and they're going to start getting bigger. Now, a lot of these bigger brokerages, they have a whole department that's totally dedicated to mergers and acquisitions. So you're going to have those smaller like we like to say, mom and pop insurance shops in smaller towns that are going to get bought up by the larger brokerages. And you're going to see people kind of scrambling to say, well, where do I go? And it's going to be the agents that have done the good software technology and marketing platforms available to get those customers to come to their agency. That's what I'm going to see. That's what I think in the actual industry that we're going to see in terms of technology. I think the innovation right now in the insurance industry is starting to finally grow. It's starting to make an appearance as a legitimate industry that like you can go work for an insurtech company and you can make a good living. So that's encouraging to see. But in terms of the second part of your question, I think really the most important thing that I want our company to fit in as is a trusted source. We're not doing this AgentsTech company to make a ton of money and then sell to some bigger venture capital firm so I can go retire on an island in Bora Bora. No, I don't. That would be great, but I'm not, that's not my focus. I have a true desire to help smaller to medium-sized insurance brokerages make a business for themselves, make a good life for themselves. And if they don't, what they're going to see is, they're going to be forced to sell. That's the worst case scenario for me, is an insurance agent that's worked his whole life to build up a company and then gets to a point where he can't compete with the bigger brokerages when it comes to selling insurance and he's forced to sell. But if he would have had technology in place prior to, and different carrier appointments and different softwares to help increase business, he wouldn't have to do that. So that's my thing is I want to be a help because small business is really important to me. I work at a small business pretty much my whole life, and I don't want to see small business get eaten up by big business.
100%. The small businesses are like, I think I was doing some research. It's not only in the United States, it's also across the world. Like they contribute in the larger portion of the economy of any country. And this is why also I focus a lot, in the type of podcast time on trying to help startups and small, medium businesses in surviving. And here I want to ask a question because we didn't discuss it. So what is your take on AI and its use in insurance tech?
I think AI and insurance will be the last to really integrate well together. I think it'll be insurance companies as, the actual carriers like Nationwide, Progressive, Travelers, all of them, especially in the US and in Europe and in Asia, they will be very hesitant because the underwriters, that one of the biggest issues right now is underwriters who actually, determine, okay, are we going to write this piece of business or not? What are all the rating factors in determining the premium and things like that? They're very hesitant because AI is smarter than they are, right? If you take years and years and years worth of insurance risk data and you plug it into AI, yes, it will spit out a premium that is going to probably be better than what they can determine. Or it will, be able to say, yes, this is a good risk, or no, this is a really bad risk to do. The only thing I think is going to be hesitant of doing that is there is sort of a human factor to underwriting insurance that really you can't put off to an AI. It's not impossible. I don't think. I'm never saying anything is impossible, but it's going to be a pretty tough thing just depending on the amount of data that you need to determine that. So I think it'll have definitely its place in insurance technology and softwares. I don't think in the actual insurance world, it will take place for probably about 5 to 8 more years.
That's interesting. I was reading an article and exactly, they raised the same concerns that you mentioned now. In addition to this, it's, all the talk about how the data is biased, like, is it a clean data? And, I'd say people that they might not have even history before, they might be, given an unfair policy, for example, or, it's challenging, but it's coming. Yeah, but I agree with you. It got to take a little bit of time until it reaches the maturity that we can integrate it in insurance tech. And I think this is why, because insurance tech is more or less also similar to the case of banking also as well. And, banking or anything financial, related vertical, we will see like more slower adoption for AI and actually any other technology, because usually these verticals are the slowest because they deal with the actual money and no one want to lose their money. So,
right.
So it's like very spot on. Now, as this, now you're managing the business, Caden, yourself, and a lot of things. We mentioned AI, we mentioned a lot of other trends also as well. So how do you keep up with all the news and all the innovations that are coming up out of there?
Yeah. We are actually, all of our employees, and we've given them full reign to constantly be looking for new startups, constantly looking for new companies, new innovations. We're on email, the automated emails from every insurtech that we recommend. to see, hey, are they updating a new portion of their software, or do they recommend, do they have a partnership with another software that we don't know about? That's how we do that. And even then, before we got really started with AgentsTech, me and our COO were in, I'd say, combined 150 to 175 meetings or demos with software companies. And that was kind of our due diligence to see, are these softwares actually going to be good softwares to recommend? Or are they just, someone that just has an idea and, things weren't really planned well. So that is kind of what we do, is we're always researching, always looking. If you're not in the insurance industry, because there's tons of companies, if you're not looking and you're a tech consulting firm, you're going to be behind. That is part of our daily routine is, hey, did you find anything else? Did you find any other marketing, lead generation, software, CRM, whatever it may be? That's how we always stay kind of ahead of the game for our customers.
Yeah, that's great. As we're approaching, Caden, and just I like also to, you did something really, impressive, trying to innovate something within, right? So what's your advice for anyone who want to take, this entrepreneurial? And people think sometimes that being entrepreneur is only, leaving and starting something. But in your case, it was like a little bit changing from within. So what advice you give, fellow people who might just now at the edge of deciding what should I do next, how I move forward, what you can tell them?
Yeah, I would say, instead, if you have an idea that you think is going to be the next best thing, then go for it. If you have a lot of confidence. If you don't, I would say start it on the side, do something here and there to just get the ball rolling. Determine, is there going to be any interest? Because what you may find out is that you have a great idea, but actually people aren't interested in buying it, or they're not interested in getting those services that you came up with. So that would be my number one thing, is like, maybe start on the side. Dip your toe in the water a little bit and see, does it actually make sense for you to do that? Also, come up with a solution within your company to solve a company's problem. And then if that, determines, hey, this is actually a really good thing, maybe other companies can benefit from this. That's a fantastic thing, because then you can still maintain your current job and still have income coming in. You don't have to take out, business loans. And then you can slowly progress into something that's going to be big and stable. That's the one thing that we really want to emphasize in the entrepreneurial mindset, is there's definitely a place for, venture capital, small business loans, going 110% balls to the wall and just absolutely hitting it as hard as you can. That's great. But there's also a place for slow, progressive growth of a company, of an idea. I personally like the slow, progressive growth because you can make a good foundation underneath you, and you don't have to answer to investors. You don't have to answer to this, in the US, the Small Business Association. If you're trying to get a loan, they're saying, hey, where's my money? You can't pay on that loan. That's a really good thing, because also, if you start by helping your current company you're in, you already have an example of how that idea or that product or whatever it is works, so that you can then take that onto whatever other business opportunities you want to pursue and say, hey, it's already worked here, like it has with our agency. I'm just going to go ahead and do it and use that as an example for other people that might be interested. So I think that's probably the best idea.
Yeah. So it's basically following the bootstrapping the business approach, which right. Yeah. It's like, I'm from that camp, let's say, of course, but there are exceptions, and we discussed it on the show multiple times. It depends on the idea, on, the founders and many other factors. But yeah, I would say your way is a very healthy way of doing it also as well, putting it on the side and just testing. Now, Caden, I have kind of a legacy question here. Is there anything you wished I asked you and I didn't? and how you would answer that.
Oh man. I wish you would have asked me how hot it is in Texas right now, because
It will not be more hot than Dubai. I can assure you this.
yes. It's a little bit of a different hot. I think, right now I'm in Dallas right now, and I think it's like 102 or 103, but the humidity is about 90% or 85%. So, that's about it. But, realistically, you had some very, very good questions.
Okay, thank you.
I think I would just want to tell people that, starting a company is not easy. Especially in an industry that, is so apprehensive to technological change. So I would say, if you have an idea and you're in an industry other than insurance, go for it, because you'll probably be successful.
Yeah, that's really informative. Just to put context for people. So if you are in the US, you know what 102 Fahrenheit, how much it is. So for people who are living on the side of the world, like, it's almost 39 degrees Celsius. Here in Dubai, it's 45 degrees Celsius, which is like almost 113 or 114 Fahrenheit, I would say. So yeah, but yeah, it's hot. It's hot. It's also hot. Caden, thank you very much. Just where they can find a little bit more about your company, like, is there any website, and about yourself also as well?
Yeah. So, you can reach out to www.agentstech.com. That's our website. If you're an insurance brokerage and you want to reach out to us, you can fill out a consultation there. Or you can email me at caden@agentstech.com, and we can talk that way as well.
Yeah, that's great. I will make sure that I will put the links in the episode description. Thank you very much for the time, Caden. And as usual, the way I end the show, asking the audience, if you like this episode, you have any feedback, any question, don't hesitate, reach out to me. You can find me on all the social media. You can see them now. I changed the banner recently, so I don't have to repeat them. Mainly on LinkedIn, where I'm most active. You can send me also an email. If you are interested to be a guest, same how Caden was a guest today, also reach out. I have open door policy, I would say. Actually, I would love to have you on the show. Doesn't matter where you are. If you are in the US, Canada, UK, I have guests from all over the world. I can afford all time zones. That's fine with me. Important thing is, like, I was impressed by Caden's story. It's like a true success story. This is why we decided to do this. And if you have something similar, don't hesitate. Reach out to me, because the CTO show is not only about tech, it's also about starting up and entrepreneurship. Well, thank you very much. And until we meet next time, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.